Shut down.
Okay. There'll be a few more
Good.
people to jump on here in a minute, but go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I am excited that we've got Paige Decker back with us from Movement Mortgage. Here's a few things about her. First of all, not only is she my favorite loan officer, she's an out-of-the-box thinker, but she has in her experience the same thing as being a realtor. Okay, she was a realtor for, she could tell you exactly how many years, but so she knows as a realtor what we go through each and every day with our buyers and sellers. So she is able to relate. She knows how quickly we need things back. She knows how important communication is. So I just wanted to welcome her to the call this morning. Paige, you there?
I'm here. Thank you for
Awesome.
such a nice introduction.
You are welcome. Take it away.
All right. So this morning, I just wanted to help you, give you some tools to enable your buyer clients to make educated, confident decisions in this very, very indecisive and kind of a fear-filled real estate market, particularly if people are listening to mainstream media, they're talking to mom and dad, talking to friends that maybe bought a house. Maybe mom and dad bought a house prior to 2008 and they experienced the 2008 crash and they're going, home prices were rapidly escalating like they did then, the market's about to crash. Or, people that bought even a few years ago and are going, what do you mean you've got to pay $10,000 over the asking price? The seller's supposed to negotiate down. I talked to somebody yesterday that she really doesn't have enough cash to close. She's got the down payment, but she doesn't have the closing cost and prepaid. She goes, well, I will just ask the seller to pay for that. I went, not in this market, you're not. You can ask, but you're not getting it. And it is having those conversations. And I was able to show her, this is where we're at in this market. And so helping you have those conversations, helping the buyers be confident in moving forward, giving them some confidence that now's the time to buy rather than wait, and give them confidence that if they bid over the asking price, they're not necessarily going to be upside down for years and years. So let me share my screen real quick. Daniel, will you give me permission to share?
Absolutely.
Are y'all having any buyers go, I think I might want to wait? They get into the market, they realize how competitive it is, they realize how little inventory is out there. Are you having anybody going, I think I'm just going to wait until the prices come down, until this market improves, rates come down?
I had 3 people yesterday
Absolutely.
reach out to me and say, well, I think that we might sell this year. We'll talk to you about it, but where am I going? And how am I going to do it? And is the market going to come down? And they've got, say, $300,000 in equity in their house right now. And they're like, well, I would go ahead and lose the 50 grand of that or 75 grand of that all came on in the last year in order to take advantage of a dump in the market, and I'm like, dude, I don't think there's going to be a dump in the market. There might be a dump in the market in 2 years when these hedge funds and people start putting a lot of these properties that are rentals on the market. And it might regulate it a little bit, but it's not going to be a dump because too many people have too much equity sitting in their houses. That's the difference in my mind between now and 2008 and 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
there's less than a month of inventory, so that's not going to fix anytime soon. And also, let's say the market takes a dump. Well, selling their house will take a dump too. What they're not considering is, if you asked them if they'd pay what their house would sell for today, they'd probably say no. So they're going to roll that big fat gain in their existing house into the new one. That's where the money's coming from.
Exactly. Well, let me share. Let's see.
Paige, on a side note, I referred you yesterday.
Oh, well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
if you will either shoot me a text message or email, do a group text message or email.
Okay.
That way I can reach out directly. A lot of times you'll pass the name and number along and then nobody calls. And at least that way I can circle back with them and you.
Yeah, anytime you do a referral, I don't know if anybody, what people believe their referral system is, but here's what let me let these people in. I always tell them I'm going to send them a link and I'm going to copy both of you on it. So I would say, Paige, meet Cody, Cody, meet Paige. Here's both of your numbers. And then right after that, I send the contact card to each other so that you guys don't have to cut and paste and do the numbers that way. Then after that, I'm out of it. I do the introductions that way, simple and easy on text, where all you got to do is save the contacts. Now you've got the people.
I
Yep.
also use Messenger a lot to do introductions, because in Facebook you could see the person like that you're being introduced to, and there's something about being able to see who you're talking with. So I love Messenger for that. I've connected Paige with several people through Messenger, and it works out well.
Yeah, that is
another
great
way.
But I will say this: I use Tract ROI, and it has a messenger. It goes through Messenger to get people to sign in to see houses and stuff, and go into my CRM. And if I'm not friends with them, they oftentimes don't open the message, or only 60% of people use Messenger that are on Facebook.
Mhm.
So,
And everybody's texting.
yeah, but if you know that you're on Messenger and your friends on Messenger, on Facebook, that's a great way to do it, because they can instantly go and see them and look them up and stuff and see who they are. But like less than 60% of people on Facebook are on Messenger.
Yep. All right, let me pull this up. Let's start with taking a look at I'm just going to share some tools that I've got to be able to use with clients. And this is really something for you guys. This is a real estate report card. And I just did zip code 30115. And I'm just going to, rather than go through this whole thing, just want to show you, point out a couple things on here. Median home price, $470. That is absolutely amazing. But here's right here, just want to kind of call your attention to this right here. And this speaks to the supply and demand. So right now in this particular zip code, new home formations, household formations, and this is based on this population number here, month over month, this is your new home formations going on right now, 2,700 new home formations. Of that, 2,000 are first-time home buyers. The actual number of homes being built and added to inventory right now is just under 25,000, or excuse me, 2,500. Every single month, we are falling further and further behind because there's less homes being added to the market than there's less homes being added to the market than there is demand. This right here is your supply and demand. So we need more homes. And even if there's a foreclosure, here's an interesting way to look at it. Even if there's a foreclosure, there's somebody living in that house. Even if these investors go and start selling the homes, there's somebody living in that house right now. Those people are going to go and have to buy something else. They're not adding a home to inventory. They're swapping houses. So we need homes being added to the inventory through new construction, and that's not happening. It's either going to happen through new construction, or it's going to happen, and I hate to say it, by people that are dying and they're being taken out of the new home formations. Or on a happy side, if you've got two people that currently own homes, living in houses, that get married and they go from two houses to one house, that would also add something to inventory. So until this number changes, that supply and demand is going to continue. The demand is what is driving the prices.
You know, one
How-
thing that's going on here is Cherokee County is adding like 1,000 apartments every 6 months to our county. Not just apartments, they have another like 250 every 6 or 8 months. They're adding of what do you call it when it's not like it's not assisted living, but you know, it's for older people. Like they go in, they pay like $8,000 a month for it, but it's not really assisted living. But there's people there. They got food there. They got entertainment there. They have people come in and do their hair and hair salons. But we have probably 6 of those slated to be built in the next year.
You know what? And that is so needed. They've started building, there's a really nice community like that. And it's like aging in place where there's different levels of care. There's a really nice one out towards Dallas. And that's one of the reasons I think we're seeing a lack of inventory, because people are living longer and they're aging in place in the homes where they've been for so many years, rather than moving into these assisted living facilities. People are staying at home and getting home care. So just wanted to point out, this is what's going on in your county right now. Let me flip over to something else.
You know, something else is during the crash, there were a lot of families that moved back in with their parents, or their parents moved in with them. And now some of those people are, I mean, it's been 10 years, so they're back on their feet and now credit worthy, and now also on the home buying market. So all that stuff is kind of coming to a head, I think.
Yep. Let me see. I had these things lined up and now let's see. Where is it? What I'm looking at here. Where's my cost of living? There we go. Okay. Let me share this again. All right, so for those buyers that go, I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till the market crashes. I'm going to wait till prices come down and are not so competitive. I'm going to wait till interest rates come down. Right now we're in a rising rate environment. We may see that level off and see a little bit of improvement in interest rates as the country is heading. All indicators are we're heading towards a recession. Historically, when we've headed towards a recession, it has not had a negative impact on home prices. It, however, does have it has a positive influence on interest rates. So we may see, and the experts are saying sometime in the next 1 to 3 years, people that buy right now will likely have an opportunity to refinance into a lower rate. So, you know, these higher interest rates that we're experiencing right now are just a vehicle to get people into homes. So for that person that says, I'm going to wait, let's take a look at what, just using some very, very conservative numbers. So if they were to buy, this is a home that is currently listed in Canton, the property value is $450,000. Assuming they did a 20% down, 80% loan to value. They are looking at, you know, where is it? I'm lost here. Give me a second. Should have had another cup of coffee this morning. All right, so their total monthly payment, $2,456. Let's say they just waited 6 months. Using very, very conservative appreciation numbers, that same house 6 months from now is going to be almost $470,000. Their monthly payment is going to be about $150 more a month, and their cash to close, they're going to have to come to the closing table with almost an additional $4,000. Are they going to be saving $4,000 over the next 6 months to be able to buy that same house? What if they wait a year? What if they're renting today and say, you know what, I'm just going to sign another year's lease, and then we're going to revisit this next year? That same house that today they could have bought for 450,000 is going to cost them 480,000. Their monthly payment, instead of under 2,500, it's almost 2,700, and they're going to have to come to the closing table with almost $6,000 more. I can tell you folks, because I see people's finances, I am taking a forensic look into people's finances. Most people are not saving that kind of money month over month. The majority of the people buying in this price range are buying in this price range because they are moving up from another home. This is not your average first-time home buyer. But I can tell you your first-time home buyers are struggling to set money aside every single month. So by them waiting, most people are not going to have this additional cash. And then if we just, look out another year, almost 500,000 for the same house that today they could buy for 450. Monthly payment is just continuing to go up, and so on and so on. Let's see. Let me stop sharing real quick so I can see the tabs on my computer. Is that helpful?
People better start buying their houses if they plan on having one, huh?
What's that?
So people better start buying if they plan on having one.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, let me show you this. So let's assume that was a first-time home buyer that is currently renting. And let's even drop the price range. So let's assume that we've got somebody that is currently renting and they're paying $2,200 a month in rent. They're looking at something comparable for a home. That's going to put them buying a home of $312,000, putting 5% down. Just looking at a forecasted appreciation of under 5%. Right now, homes are appreciating double digits. And so this same person, if they were to buy a house now instead of rent, their monthly payment's going to be slightly above what they're paying in rent. Rent this year, let's look over here, this on the right-hand side. So this is year one. It's going to cost them a little bit more to own than it is to rent. By year two, so somebody's going to go, why would I have a higher monthly payment and purchase when I'm renting and it's cheaper? Well, by year two, with the rate of a very conservative increase in rent, and right now rents are rising at the most rapid pace we've ever seen in history, almost going up equal to or greater than in some areas than home appreciation. But even using very, very conservative appreciation numbers or rent increase numbers, by the second year, they're paying more. It's almost a break even. By year three, the cost of renting surpasses the cost of owning. And you can see the longer they are in the home, the average length of time people are in homes today is between 7 to 9 years. So let's say they are renting for 9 years. That rent is just going to continue to go up and up and up. The cash flow difference is they're going to spend $25,000 more in rent and get no appreciation at all. The appreciation gain just by market appreciation, using, again, very conservative numbers of the forecasted 4.27%, their market appreciation is going to be $142,000. The amortization gain in this right here, I think, is a hidden, kind of a hidden pocket of money that first-time home buyers in particular forget that they've got. This is forced savings. This is the principal reduction every single time they are making a payment on their mortgage. They're paying down that principal. It is like forced savings. So if the market didn't even go up at all, they're sitting on this just as the amortization of their loan has gone down. But let's look at, if they were to sell their house, the only way to capture that equity is to sell their house or get get an equity loan or cash out refinance. But let's assume they sell in 9 years, the cost to sell, let's assume that they're going to be paying a 6% real estate commission. The cost to sell almost $30,000. And we're assuming not even any tax benefit at all. We're not factoring that in here. The net gain for these folks buying a house is $178,000. Even with the initial closing cost and the cost to sell at the end.
And this
They
is based
just
on,
put-
this is based on 450,000, 455.
This is based on a $312,000 purchase at very, very conservative appreciation numbers.
Do you have the appreciation numbers from, for like Cherokee County, Cobb County, any of those like in front of you?
I don't have them for the county, but let me see. Let me stop sharing so I can see the tabs on my screen here.
Guys, I posted in the chat box again, so y'all can cut and paste these things, put them in your calendar, set a reminder to it. And so you can get on some of these calls to learn different things. We have the coach Mike, then we have production stuff where all of us take turns doing that. And then we have some different motivational calls as well, plus this one, plus realtors between the covers every Friday as well.
Let's see, where did I put it? I had it.
Daniel, I have a quick question.
Okay,
Because
speak loud. I can't hear you.
you can't hear me.
I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, what you got?
Can you actually send that out in a text? Because I have no way from my,
You went muted. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to send an email invite, a calendar invite for you guys to be able to click it and put it on your calendars and make it easy for you so y'all can jump on these calls. And I'm going to add the three Super Mike calls, the production calls, and the realtors between the cover call and this call. So there'll be 6 calls, I guess, but they're, every week. So I'm going to send it out to you. I'm going to invite you to it. You can click it and do it and set it on your calendar. And that way, at least you'll get reminded of it. And maybe that'll make it easier for you guys. If it goes out in text, I send it out in text because I use Reach, and it makes it real easy for me to just go boop, 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 and send out 15 of them or 65 or whatever I do that day. So then you got to cut and paste it and send it to your email so that you can get it on your calendar. But anyway, I mean, on your email, so you can do it on your computer.
okay, thank you.
But I'll send out an invite.
Okay, thank you.
Daniel, this is not specific to a county, but this is specific to the state. And then it's easy enough with the MLS or FMLS to get your county specific numbers. But this is looking at home appreciation or change in the home price index over the last quarter. Georgia overall has gone up almost 5% just in the last quarter.
Yeah, I think I looked at it not too long ago. I think we were like 32% year over year, or something crazy like that.
Okay, here it is for the state, and I'm not surprised. I do a lot of work in South Florida, and in that market where I'm working, they have seen almost a 30% over year, and it is just insane. Here it is, Georgia for the year is almost 21%. These numbers get really staggering when you see the 5-year. And this is a good one to show people that even if it was really conservative, when you look at that rent versus own, it's pretty, I mean, when you're looking at $178,000 in equity, that's just to me, it's like stupid numbers. And I wish I could change those to show them what it's been. This right here helps you do that. In the last 5 years, homeowners have experienced a 65% increase in home prices.
I mean, that's counting really bad spots and really good spots. So,
Right.
That's averaging it out. So if you did a weighted to it, it would probably be, Cherokee and Cobb probably, and probably Coweta County, probably far more than the others.
Okay, now I'm going to blow your mind. All right, so people I talk to, particularly those of us that have been around and were homeowners in 2008, saw a tremendous drop in home prices. People still have that mindset. So they're like, okay, yeah, 5 years is one thing, but what happens when the market crashes and the home value is below water? Let's look back to 1991. 30 years ago.
I was a wee little bit.
Home ownership is a long-term investment. 244% increase in the home price index, and that takes into consideration multiple recessions and the 2008 drop.
Wow, look at Colorado.
So if you bought a home,
Colorado and Utah, look at that. That is bonker crazy.
over 500%. It's insane. So anybody that doesn't think that home ownership is the best way to build wealth has their head in the sand. They've just got, too narrow of a viewpoint, and they're kind of stuck in that 2008, 2011, where we saw home price drop. And that was just an anomaly that happened. If you look at the home price index over the 30 years, if you look at this on a chart, the only time in our 65-year history that we have seen a significant drop in home prices, and that was during 2008, 2011.
I think the only time where it was anywhere close to that was the Great Depression. Drop in home prices. So
how do people buy houses? Is there something special that they're doing for mortgages in DC? I mean, look at that. I mean, how do those people, what are they living in closets? And they're $500,000 closets? I mean, how is that? How are they buying these houses up there?
Yeah. Well, you look in New York. People are buying itty bitty, teeny tiny condos. Really anywhere where prices are just astronomical. Last week I was down at my parents down in South Florida, and my stepdad and I get into a conversation. We were watching one of the $1 million listing real estate shows, and that spawned the conversation about kind of exactly this. How is it that people are buying houses? What's the cost of homes? What's a first-time home buyer supposed to do? And it depends on the area. He was saying in this area, first-time home buyers can't even touch a house for $450,000. And that's true in some areas. You go out to California, I've got family that's in South Lake, Texas. South Lake, Texas is actually the richest city in the entire country right now. And just like the average home price is $1 million. And first-time home buyer, same thing in California. I've got a lot of loan officer friends and real estate agent friends that are out in California. A starter home's $2 million. And people are having to buy further out. They're buying smaller homes. Maybe they're not buying in the same neighborhood. And I think when I first started working my start in real estate was working for a home builder. But when I shifted over and started working for just a regular real estate company selling resales, I started working with some home investors, and they were buying a lot of homes in areas that we called them wine and cheese neighborhoods. And those were the neighborhoods because you could always tell the neighborhoods that were shifting because the liquor stores started selling better wine. And going into College Park was one of those areas that was up and coming at the time. And so home buyers started buying houses in areas that they otherwise would not have considered if they wanted to be closer in town. And they were having to renovate houses. We've got renovation loans that can help people accomplish that. or investors have an opportunity to go in, buy a house, fix it up, and keep that cost as minimal as possible to be able to help home buyers buy.
I have a friend of mine that he owns like 20-something thousand single family residences. He does not believe in apartment complexes, condos and things like that because he wants it to be liquid quick. And he took a bunch of his money and put it in, I think he ended up buying like 10,000 houses in the suburbs of like Kansas City or something. And he was buying them for next to nothing. And now those houses are probably, it was a transient area. It all changed over. And then now it's like those $200,000 houses are probably $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he watches, he buys data from data scientists that say these people are most likely to move, and this area is now changing quicker than anything else in the state or the country. So anyway, so there's definitely a huge, watch the transition areas. They definitely change. And I like that wine. The wine gets better.
Yeah.
Auto parts stores go away. Like when areas get better, auto zones and things like that typically do less business and end up having to rent their space or sell their buildings. That's another thing. Like if you're in lower income areas, you always have more liquor stores. And another thing to watch now in auto parts stores, another thing to watch now is these vape stores. These vape stores are everywhere waiting for the weed to go legal. But then they're going to be in a battle with each other. So we'll see what happens with all that.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we're 33 minutes in, and I'm fascinated by this stuff. Is there something else that you guys would like to use her for a resource or something else she could share with us that you guys want a topic versus us throwing the topic on you? Anybody?
Yeah, what would help you the most? What are you hearing out in the field? What are your sellers and buyers struggling with other than, just inventory? What would help you overcome some of the challenges you're having today?
One thing that I would say is like, I would like to learn more about if you've got a 401k, or if you've got some kind of annuity plan, if you've got parents that have something like that, or somebody that will do that as a, what do you call it? Like a gift letter. I'm trying to find different ways to help agents to help their buyers to find the money, to find the resources, whether their parents need to go in it with them, or if they need to tap their 401ks. What are the real penalties of that nowadays versus years ago when I had to deal with some of that stuff with some of my buyers. That stuff helps open their eyes, and it moves them to a different market, sometimes a little different area, different price point. And face it, and with this kind of appreciation, the 401k ain't making that kind of money. But they all just put, right. So if their parents say, "Look, I can give you $100,000, kid, let's do it."
Okay, so really some alternative sources for down payments.
Yeah, some like commingled funds there, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I have to jump off, but I've enjoyed it.
We're about to start telling jokes, but it'll be recorded.
Record them for me.
All right, see you,
Have a
bye.
good one.
Denise, you have any questions about investments? Denise is like our in-house investor lady.
Oh, that's awesome.
She knows it all. All right, so I appreciate it. I don't know how often you want us to take your time for this even. Also post your stuff, your info again in the chat, and then I'm going to keep you involved with the strategy real estate page, the private page, so that we can get together. Guys, send a text message when you introduce her to somebody. Introduce them through text, and then send both of them's contact card to each other, whoever you're introducing her to, and we'll go through it. And I'll send everybody an invite for the different videos and things. But we'll talk offline about how much you want to put into this or whatever, because I don't want to hit you every single week for 30, 40 minutes, right? That's a lot.
If I am providing value that helps you guys, I am more than happy to show up and do this as much as you would like.
So I have a question for you. It's a personal question. What shifted from selling sticks and bricks to selling money?
Oh, great question. I was living there in Atlanta, And we have had a home in North Carolina for a number of years and decided that my husband in particular, was tired of the rat race of Atlanta and wanted to make our North Carolina home our primary residence. And so when I moved up here in February 2020, I knew I did not want to start over in real estate. The real estate market up here in North Carolina is completely different than it is in the Atlanta area, different in every single way. So I'm like, if I'm going to start my career over, it is not going to be starting over in real estate. I want to be able to help people that I already know. And everybody I know is a real estate agent in Georgia and Florida. And so it just so happened that coincided with COVID and the whole country shutting down. I was like, great. And I can do mortgages from home. So I went and got my mortgage license, and here I am.
Another question. There you are, North Carolina. What part of North Carolina are you in?
I'm in a tiny little town called Moxville. So I'm about an hour north of Charlotte and about 30 minutes west of Winston-Salem.
Gotcha. Well, you got big markets near you. Now, does Movement Mortgage, do they have an app? Is there an app for Movement that would keep on track with buyer A, B, and C?
Yes.
How, if we have somebody with that, you just lock them in together, and then whoever the agent is, you give them the access to the app, download it. Okay. I was just wondering.
Yep.
All right, guys, any more questions? I'm gonna stop the recording. I'm gonna hang out for anybody that's got questions for me. Paige, we'll chat later on the day. Accept my friend request, hopefully, and we'll get you into that strategy group.
Terrific. And I have accepted your friend request, so you should see me on
Okay,
there.
thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a terrific day.